Good morning, students. Welcome to the next session of SST. Today I am here with the topic British Rule and Struggle for Freedom. In the ancient times, India was famous far and wide for its riches. In fact, it was called the Golden Bird. Indian spices, jewelry, textiles, and pearls were especially famous in many Asian countries of that time. When European traders came to know about this, they decided to visit India and establish trade relations with it. The first European to arrive India was Vasco da Gama. He arrived India in 1498 and thus opened the doors for the other European traders. He was a Portuguese. The Portuguese set up trading ports in Goa, Daman and Diu. Seeing them earning a huge profit, traders of many other countries of Europe like Dutch, British and French also started trading with India. Now students, there was a struggle among European traders. After some time, all the European traders wanted to have their control over trade in India. This resulted in a fight among themselves. But the British won over other European traders and established the East India Company in Surat. The company soon opened its trading centers in Madras, in Mumbai and Calcutta. Now students, I am going to discuss with you British rule in India. At that time, India was divided into small kingdoms and most of them were engaged in fight with each other. On the other hand, the East India Company was earning a huge amount of wealth. Over the time, the company became so powerful that it started providing security to the Nawabs of India in return of trade concessions. Seeing the disunity among Indian rulers, the company decided to take control over entire country. They started building forts in Bengal. At that time, Siraj-ud-Daulah was the Nawab of Bengal. He ordered them to stop building the forts and remove their army from Bengal. But the British didn't listen to him and continued building the forts. As a result, the Nawab declared a war against the British. This battle is known as the Battle of Plassey, which took place in 1757. Siraj-ud-Daulah was defeated and put to death. The British were led by Robert Clive. The British became more powerful in Bengal after this victory. 7 years later, in 1764, another battle was fought between the East India Company and the Indian Nawabs Mir Qasim of Bengal, the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II and the Nawab of Awadh. This battle is known as Battle of Buxar. The British won this battle too. After this battle, Bengal, Bihar and parts of Odisha came under the British rule. Robert Clive became the first British governor of Bengal. The British took full advantage of disunity among Indian rulers to spread their rule over entire India. They followed the policy of divide and rule. They also introduced some tricky policies for their benefits. One of them was subsidiary alliance. This policy was introduced by the Governor General Lord Wellesley. Under this policy, the rulers had to suspend their armies and keep British forces in their territory and pay for their maintenance. They also had to give some part of their kingdom to the British. Doctrine of lapse. This policy was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Under this policy, any kingdom whose ruler died without having a natural son, would be taken over by the British. Thus, the British took control over many other kingdoms through these policies. Now students, I am going to discuss with you disappointment among Indians towards British policies. The main aim of the British was to earn more profit without doing any welfare activities for Indians. This attitude led to disappointment among Indians towards the British policies. Indian sepoys in British Army were not treated well. They also could not get higher posts in the army. The farmers were forced to grow cotton and indigo in place of food grains because cotton and indigo were in great demand in Europe. The British also gave very low prices for cotton and indigo. This made Indian farmers poorer. Indian craftsmen were also not happy with the British. The British bought cotton and other raw materials at low prices from India and sent them to England. There, these materials were processed in machines to make clothes at low cost. The ready-made clothes were again sold in Indian markets at high rates. Thus, Indian craftsmen and weavers lost their jobs and they were not happy at all. Many Indian rulers who had lost their kingdoms due to the doctrine of lapse were already unhappy with the British. Now students, I am going to discuss with you the revolt of 1857. As we already know that Indian sepoys were not satisfied with the British policies. Their anger broke out when Enfield rifles were introduced in the army. There was a rumor that the cover of the cartridges of this rifle was greased with the fat of pig and cow. The cover had to be bitten off by teeth. The Hindu and Muslim soldiers did not accept this as their religions did not allow eating of cows and pigs respectively. The sepoys rebelled starting the revolt of 1857. Mangal Pandey was the first sepoy to openly refuse to use the cartridge. He attacked his superior on March 29, 1857. He was arrested and hanged on April 8, 1857. However, the real revolt started in Meerut on April 24, 1857, when the Indian sepoys rebelled and marched to Delhi and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor, as the Emperor of India. This news soon spread in the entire country and the revolt spread in many parts of the country. These revolts were led by different leaders in different parts of the country. A number of farmers, weavers, craftsmen, and workers took part in the revolt against the British. Therefore, Revolt of 1857 is also called the First War of Independence. It shook the foundations of British rule in India. The revolt continued for 2 years, but the British finally crushed it. Thousands of Indians were either killed or arrested. Now students, I am going to discuss with you reasons behind the failure of the revolt of 1857. The revolt was not planned and organized properly. The revolt did not get support from entire country. People from all sections of society did not support the revolt. The Indian soldiers did not have good weapons with them. Now students, what were the results of the revolt of 1857? Though the revolt was suppressed, it proved to be a turning point in the history of India. The rule of the East India Company came to an end. India was now directly under the rule of the British Crown, and Queen Victoria became the Empress of India. India was no longer ruled by governor generals but by viceroys. After the revolt of 1857, many educated Indians explained to the people the importance of freedom. But at that time, Indian society was in the grip of many evils such as sati, child marriage, and caste system. Besides, most of the people were uneducated. This was proving to be a hindrance to an organized and planned freedom struggle. Social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Syed Ahmad Khan, Dayanand Saraswati, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and Swami Vivekananda began the campaign to bring a change in the society. They started to work towards abolishing the practice of these social evils. They also convinced the people about the importance of education. Through their efforts, they were able to arouse a feeling of nationalism among the people of India. This nationalism developed as a concept during the Indian national movement. Now, students, I am telling you about the formation of Indian National Congress. Many educated Indians started to organize people for freedom struggle, and for this they formed associations and institutions. The Indian National Congress was formed in Bombay in 1885 by an Englishman, A.O. Hume. It was the first national level organization. The main aim of this party was to obtain a greater share for Indians in the governance of the country. W.C. Banerjee was its first president. The Congress held meetings annually in different parts of the country to discuss important issues regarding the anti-Indian politics implemented by the British government. Delegates from all over the country participated in these meetings. In a few years, Indian National Congress became a popular and strong political party. Now students, I am going to discuss with you split in Indian National Congress. Earlier, the practice of the Indian National Congress was to present the grievances of Indians before the British government through petitions. Later, a group of leaders emerged in Congress who wanted to take strong actions against the British. As a result, Congress was split into two factions, moderate and radical. The moderate faction had leaders like Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Surendranath Banerjee, Dadabhai Naoroji, W.C. Banerjee, Badaruddin Tayyabji, and M.G. Ranade. Important leaders of the radical faction were Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Lala Lajpat Rai. Together, the three of them were also known as Lal Bal Pal. Bal Gangadhar Tilak used Hindi newspaper Kesari to make people aware of the sufferings of Indians under the British. Tilak firmly said, "Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it." Now students, I am going to discuss with you partition of Bengal. Bengal had become the center of freedom struggle. The British wanted to disunite the people of Bengal. For this, they followed the policy of divide and rule. They divided Bengal in 1905. The reason given for this partition by Lord Curzon, the then Viceroy of India, was easy administration. He said that since Bengal was a very large and populous state, it will be easier to administrate it if it was divided into states. However, the Indians got to know the real intention of the British behind the partition. that is creating disunity between the Hindus and the Muslims. People started protesting against the partition of Bengal. People started avoiding British goods under Swadeshi and boycott movements. The people from all over the country joined the movement. Finally, the British gave in and Bengal was reunited in 1911. This was a great achievement for Indians. Now students, I am going to discuss with you the First World War and contribution of India. The First World War broke out in 1914. Many Indian soldiers served in the British Army. Large supplies of food, money and ammunition were also supplied to the British Army. It was believed that after the war, the British would bring reforms in the Indian society and would work towards granting freedom to India. However, instead of bringing reforms, the British passed strict acts like Rowlatt Act in 1919. Under this act, any Indian could be imprisoned without trial. Indians strongly protested against this act. Now, the Indian freedom fighters decided to work to get independence from the British rule. When the British did not take any step to grant freedom to India after the First World War, all the Indians were disappointed. The enactment of Rowlatt Act had intensified the anger of people. This created a group of revolutionaries who wanted to drive away the British. Revolutionaries were a group of young men and women who followed violent methods of protest. They believed that independence could only be achieved through violent methods. Some of the prominent revolutionaries were Aurobindo Ghosh, Rash Bihari Bose, Veer Savarkar and Ajit Singh. Another group of revolutionaries included Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Khudiram Bose, Sukhdev, Rajguru, Asfaq Ullah Khan and Ram Prasad Bismil. All these revolutionaries showed extreme loyalty to their motherland. They became the source of inspiration for millions of Indians. Now students, I am going to discuss with you emergence of Gandhiji. Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India in 1915 from South Africa. He saw the racial discrimination in India, which he had already experienced in South Africa. He was humiliated many times while in South Africa. Once he was thrown out of a train when he was traveling in the first class compartment with a valid ticket. The reason for this was that Indians were not allowed to travel in the first class. They could travel only in the third class compartment. It was unbearable for him to see such discrimination in his own land. He decided to join the freedom movement of India. He was mentored by Gopal Krishna Gokhale upon his arrival in India. He believed in truth and non-violence and decided to follow the path of Satyagraha for the freedom struggle. His idea became popular in the whole country and he became a popular leader of the masses. When the Rowlatt Act was passed in 1919, Gandhiji called for protest against this act and people responded in millions. Now students, I am going to discuss with you Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Jallianwala Bagh incident was the most cruel act done by the British. There was a small park in Amritsar known as Jallianwala Bagh which had only one gate for entrance and exit. On 13th April 1919, around 5,000 people, men, women and children had gathered in the Jallianwala Bagh to hold a peaceful meeting. During that meeting, General Dyer along with his troops arrived in the park. He ordered his troops to fire at the people without giving them any warning. As a result, thousands of people were killed and many more got injured. Now students, I am going to discuss with you movements launched by Gandhiji in India. First one was non-cooperation movement. Indian leaders were shocked by the Jallianwala Bagh incident. Gandhiji launched the non-cooperation movement after this. This was a non-violent movement which was aimed to protest against the British rule. People boycotted British goods and used only locally made goods instead. Students and teachers stopped going to schools run by the British. Thousands of people left their government jobs. Many people returned the titles bestowed upon them by the British. This movement was a great success. However, Gandhiji called off this movement after the Chauri Chaura incident in 1922. In Chauri Chaura incident, there was a clash between the police and the protesters. In this incident, the protesters killed many policemen and set the police station on fire. Seeing the protest turning violent, Gandhiji called off the movement. Now students, I am going to discuss with you Simon Commission in India. The British appointed a commission consisting of the 7 members to look into the problems of people of India and to suggest necessary reforms. This commission was headed by Sir John Simon. The people of India felt humiliated and outraged because the commission which was formed to determine the future of India did not have a single Indian. The Indian National Congress decided to boycott the commission. When Sir John Simon arrived in India in 1928, people greeted him with black flags and shouted the slogan, "Simon, go back." During protest in Lahore, police lathi charged on protesters, in which Lala Lajpat Rai was badly injured and died after a few days. The Indian National Congress rejected the recommendations of the Simon Commission and demanded for complete independence or Purna Swaraj. Gandhiji launched the civil disobedience movement in 1930. Many other prominent leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Sarojini Naidu, Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad participated in this movement. This movement began with Dandi March of Mahatma Gandhi. The British had imposed a tax on salt. Indians could not make salt. Gandhiji started the march from his Sabarmati ashram to Dandi. At Dandi, he broke the salt law by making salt himself. His followers also did the same. Gandhiji got support of millions of people from all over the country. Thousands of people were arrested and sent to jail. The civil disobedience movement continued till 1934. Gandhiji and many other leaders were arrested during this movement. The British government passed the Government of India Act 1935 to introduce reforms. But the Indians were still not happy, as it was not any reform that they wanted, but complete independence. Now Gandhiji started Quit India movement. The Second World War started in 1939 and the British sent Indian soldiers to the war. Mahatma Gandhiji was not happy with this and he called for immediate independence from the British. He launched the Quit India movement in August 1942. He also gave the slogan, "Do or die," meaning either achieve freedom or die in trying so. The movement got support from all sections of the society. It was one of the final steps to get India free from the British rule. Now students, I am going to discuss with you Azad Hind Fauj. Subhash Chandra Bose was another important leader of the freedom struggle. He was popularly known as Netaji. Earlier, he was an active leader of Indian National Congress. He was against India helping the British during World War and hence he was put under house arrest in 1940. Somehow, he escaped and went to Germany through Afghanistan to raise an army to fight against the British. He went to Japan for this purpose and raised the Indian National Army or Azad Hind Fauj. He gave the very famous slogan, "तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा," meaning give me blood and I will give you freedom. Now students, finally India wins freedom. After the end of the Second World War in 1945, the British knew that they could not longer rule India. They decided to give India freedom. India became free on 15th August 1947. But before going, the British have a final blow to India and divided India into two parts, India and Pakistan. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister of India and Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first President of independent India. So students, this was all about the British rule and India wins freedom. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye. Good morning students. Welcome to the next session of